Stand by 1 second.
Yo. GGP already?
Welcome to the space where the truth gets spoken. Trap snares popping, hands up, energy open. Where the chains get broken and the culture stays golden. We move with grit, say grit. We rise with grace, say grits. We push for progress. Progress. No justice, no sleep. Snare snapping, keep that bounce alive. Unapologetic, black, unfiltered, unshaken. We the future in motion, history in the making. Let's go! Every step, every voice, every beat that we speak. We the rhythm of the people rising week after week. From the block to the ballot, the mic to the streets. We bring fire to the system till the mission's complete. Turn it up, let it hit, let it rise in your chest. This is power, this is purpose, yo, we won't rest. So lean in, tune up, let your spirit digest. This is grit, grace, and progress.
Yeah, feel that. Hold that. Let it settle in your soul.
Grace, power in the place.
Grace and progress. Say it.
Grace, power in the place.
Grace and progress. Grace and progress. Grace and progress.
Mr. President, did you post that picture of yourself depicted as Jesus Christ?
Well, it wasn't depicted. It was me. I did post it, and I thought it was me as a doctor, and had to do with Red Cross as a Red Cross worker there, which we support. And only the fake news could come up with that one. So I just heard about it, and I said, how did they come up with that? It's supposed to be me as a doctor making people better, and I do make people better. I make people a lot better.
I'm not even go deep. I'm not even gonna go deep. I'm gonna just stop. I'm just gonna stop right here. I don't even know what to say.
Dude,
we not gonna do nothing.
Itself.
I wasn't. Hold up.
How can you not laugh about that?
I'm gonna play that one more time.
Oh, I couldn't. The response is better than the meme. Oh, the response is better than the picture, man. His response is better than the picture. Oh.
Can you hear that?
No, I can't hear it.
Oh, you can't. Oh man, I thought I was gonna play it back for you again because I gotta play that again because that was just.
No, I played it enough.
That was just hilarious. That was just hilarious. I thought I was playing again. My bad, but I wasn't gonna do it, and the only reason why I played it, man, because I posted that picture on another private site that we own, and I got some backlash from this dude, man, who was telling me why am I putting up this propaganda, yada yada yada, and I was like, well, it's political because the Pope kind of bashed him over the weekend, and he responded criticizing the Pope. Then this pops up this morning. He called heat for it, and then he took it down. So I just wanted to put that out there, just put it out there to show you how people be acting, So
I think he just helped all of us that oppose him. That's all I can say is thank you, Trump. Continue to do what you're doing.
Right. That was hilarious. But you know what we want to get into today though is two topics. I want to talk about it's a term that a guy labeled the AI Civil Rights Act, and I want to jump into that story a little bit because there's no regulations on AI. So, as you know, you always heard the term gatekeepers. You got gatekeepers everywhere. They block you here. They pick and choose there. Well, AI is basically programmed to do the same thing, and it started off with facial recognition. Now, I know this for like within the banking industry, there was some situations where you was able to use facial recognitions to access certain things. And think about some of the programmers were not people of color at that time. So the programmers were what they were using for beta testing. So when they saw a person of color, it was kind of like, oh no, you know what I'm saying? It didn't know what to do. And we still have those effects of that not right now. Now it's gotten even deeper with other issues there, and it's getting to a point where you want.
Mr. President, did you post that picture of yourself depicted as Jesus Christ?
Well, it wasn't depicted. It was me.
My bad. I'm just playing with you,
All
man.
I'm gonna say to that video is, you know, I've studied this stuff for a long time, but I can tell you that one of the last king-like people that did that wind up turned into an ox. So
Right. I hear you, and right. I'll just leave it at that.
I'm gonna leave it right there.
Leave it right there. So
Yeah, that's it.
yeah, I was just teasing. It's like I might randomly throw that up there every now and then.
That's all right. That's good. I want people to be reminded of what we
Just
do.
to so we can have something to laugh at. But getting back to the real stuff though, we were talking about the thing with AI, and
Yeah.
I know I work with AI pretty frequently right now for work, and I've been working on it for my own personal stuff. And I shared some things with you. I think the last time we were on a call, I shared some stuff I was working on,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so the technology is excellent. It's how we use it, and if we don't use
Yeah.
it properly, it's going to cause problems. And so
Right.
you know, there's a guy named Roy Austin Jr. And he just I got two little clips I want to play for what he's saying, and I just want to get your take on it after I play it. I'm not sure if you saw the video or not when I sent the script out, but check them out here.
Data is the concern. And that is that if you don't have good data, if you don't have disaggregated data, if you don't have truthful data, you're going to get bad results. And that is part of what that report said. And that report, take employment, for example. We were starting to see these companies that were starting to use the big data that they had to figure out who to hire. Well, you look at something like what happened, I think it was with Amazon, where Amazon said, okay, we're going to use AI to figure out who we should be hiring. And then they realized they were only hiring, I think it was men or white men in particular. And then they looked back at the data and said, oh, well, we only have data on white men, so that's why we're only hiring white men. It's the same thing, now bigger. 3 years ago when ChatGPT came to bear, that changed the game entirely. Is now, I can't remember the numbers, I think 800 million people are using ChatGPT. So it goes from a small problem where it's like one company or two companies to now we're really dealing with the whole world. But you know, in 10 years, it's the same issues in many respects that we didn't get a hold of back then that we're now dealing or trying to deal with now.
What you think, man?
Yeah, I think what he talks about. I think this is the same guy that worked for Obama some time back. He worked. I think he worked in almost the same capacity for Obama. So he had some government, some inside workings of how the government works. First of all, AI is about training, right? So these things have to be trained and taught what to do. And the problem with the African American community or doing AI with us is we have already had research that tells us that the data sets are wrong for us, right?
Mm-hmm.
We know that they're wrong in some of the facial recognition. There's already been proven. And for instance, there was a study talking about how they were even having a hard time training AI about how to find skin cancer because of our tone of our skin.
Right.
There's a lot of ways that the areas can fault. So we have to be able to train AI to an exact science so that we can get the proper results, right? And a lot of people that's putting together are blonde-haired, blue-eyed white people who have might not be racist at all, but because they have not been trained or not lived in our culture, they're not aware of the problems that can occur when you like fair-skinned black,
Right.
or all blacks don't drink wine, all blacks don't listen to hip hop music. So when you don't, when you lack that understanding of culture,
Yeah.
you're helping to train the AI, which is supposed to be useful to us. So that brings me back to what you just asked about regulation.
Yeah.
The problem with that is because this country has not yet understood racism, be able to get rid of racism, or even try to handle racism, it's going to find its way in the biases inside of what's going on in AI. We can't escape it. I don't think they're going to regulate it because regulation would force everybody's hand to do the right thing.
Right.
And I just don't think we're there. I just
Yeah.
don't think that the appetite in the legislation or the government who makes the legislation is there to be fair to us right now. I just don't think it's there. I don't think it's going to happen.
It could be more so they don't want it to be there. Not that it can't get there. It's a fact that they don't want it there. Because you think about regulation. If you look at it from a Republican Democrat standpoint, Republicans never want regulation because they make more money and they ain't got to be accountable for the crap they put out. Where Democrats want regulation, but they look at the cost. It's always a cost issue when it comes to regulation because those are hiring people you got to hire. And so I like it and I don't, but I feel that in order for us to have fair, not only fair, but credible
That's
data,
key.
fair and credible stuff coming out of AI, because it goes in a lot of different areas. I mean, you look at it from the healthcare standpoint. This is my own. I'm not saying it was AI generated, but I think a lot of it was AI generated because AI is done on data that you submit, that you put in. So garbage in, garbage out.
Yep. That's it.
I have high blood pressure. So I've been dealing with high blood pressure for a while. So I had this doctor once ask me, let me rewind it back. So my personal physician, who was of Indian descent, very nice lady. She gave me a lot of good tips. And she sent me to a cardiologist who was of Indian descent. And so I went to this cardiologist. She sent me through a bunch of stuff, gave me a stress test, all these things. And then she took me off one of my medications. And I was like, okay. She said, yeah, you don't need this one. We think we can manage you with these 2 meds. I'm like, okay. So I started taking these meds and I started to swell up a little bit. And I noticed my pressure was like, it was lower, but it was higher than it should be, but it was consistently at that rate. So I got on a mission let me even rewind it back a little bit farther. Before that, I saw a thing on an app on my phone that said there's one medication I was on was causing heart attacks, that they banned the product from this particular manufacturer. So I called my doctor, Caucasian doctor, white male. I said, this office, I said, there's this issue with this medication. I need to stop taking it. I need to get another manufacturer that makes this because this is causing heart attacks. They said, we can get you in tomorrow. I said, why can't you just send me a prescription for the new medication? Why I gotta come in to see you we know what my situation is. Why? So anyway, I went to the pharmacy myself and I asked them I need a refill. And the pharmacy said, I can't sell you that, it's banned. I said, well, my doctor wants me to come see him. She said, that don't make sense. She said, let me see who your doctor is. She looked up, she's like, oh, he's a very nice doctor. I said, well, what happened? She said, I don't know, because he should be able to just send a prescription into the pharmacy of the new manufacturer and give you your medicine. I said, yeah, he just want to make the $50 off of me. He just want to make the money. Really, he just want to make the money because there was no need for me to go to the doctor. So going back to the cardiologist, she took me off these different meds. And so I talked to a black doctor and I had him on another podcast. I interviewed him. He said, well, talk to that lady and ask her where did she get her data and and determining what meds I needed. So I asked her that. She said, I went by your age, your weight, and your current condition, and how long you've had high blood pressure. I said, you never calculated my nationality, like my race, my ethnicity? She said no. So basically what she did was she took a broad scale of men that were 50. Well, at the time I was maybe 50 years old. My height, my weight, and I had blood pressure since I was in my early 30s. High blood pressure in my early 30s. So she never factored that in. So I was like, I got you. And I left. And so I got a black cardiologist. The black cardiologist told me she never should have took you off the one medication because in African American males, they need a what do you call it, diuretic that would get rid of water off your body because black men absorb the water more, and that your high blood pressure and that swelling is a main issue. That diuretic will keep that water off of you, will keep it down. That doctor basically, she said the same thing that this other doctor told me, that she used a broad scale spectrum, which is to me putting data in AI, because that's what it's going to do. Now, if you get into AI and say, because I've done this already with my blood pressure, with my health and everything, which is not bad now. I just did it this weekend because I knew I was doing this show. So I asked AI, I just had my blood work done. It's fairly good. There were some little high numbers there. I put in AI, I said, I did it twice. I said, give me a holistic health plan and regimen. And I put all my notes from my doctor's blood, from the lab work, all the report, everything. I copy and pasted it. I left out my race. And it gave me this, readout. And when I did it again, the readout, it was pretty good. I put in my medications I was on. They told me that was pretty decent medication. And they gave me certain foods to eat. But when I put in that I was African American male, the same information, it said, it put in there, your doctor's doing really great. They gave you medication with a diuretic in it that will keep the fluid off of you so you don't swell. That's exactly what it told me. I was like, well, I'll be. And it gave me a similar holistic eating plan, but it was the medication that it highlighted. And when I put the medication in the first time, same medication, it just said they see I'm on good medication. It never said any, but with the African American in the prompt, it acknowledged that was an issue. So, go ahead.
But that's the problem. That's the problem. The data training. The training for AI uses stuff like text and media and patterns and all those things which you just mentioned. There's a podcast I just produced a couple of weeks ago for the East Haven Public Library, and it's talking about medical apartheid. And I'm going to put that in the box right now, so the link to that. Okay. And there's a Case Western Reserve doctor on the show, and he talks about that some of the, like you just said, garbage in, garbage out. Yeah. That even though some of the doctors might have been racist, some of them just were so ignorant about Black culture, they made the wrong diagnoses, right? Yeah. And so they gave medicine they shouldn't have gave. They were amputating legs back in certain eras of time. Yeah. It's not necessarily saying that all of them were racist, and that's why they did it, but because their lack of ignorance, they start making the mistakes. Now, imagine that on a broad scale. We talking about AI because you're talking about one doctor, right? If she uses AI to a full capability, she's going to be giving advice to a multitude of patients, probably 1 to 10 times more patients than now if she uses it, in full capacity, which means she's going to be giving 10 different Black people the wrong diagnosis. So imagine all of the medical malpractice that is going to happen. So this goes back to what we talked about, garbage in, garbage out. Yeah. If we do not solve this problem, like I just mentioned earlier, there are going to be a lot of malpractice lawsuits and stuff. Here's what I suspect. Yeah. The only way we changed car seats was 1 year during child death. They calculated it was like 3,000 deaths, right? Yeah. Then they did regulation. The only way we had TSA, 9/11 happened, and we can go from. Same thing with airplane crashes. And we had high profile cases that happened and they decided to clear the airplane crashes. Yeah. Even with civil rights, until we had the bombings of the churches and the boycotts, nobody wanted to do anything about it. That has to be radical disasters. When I say radical, I mean disasters that give everybody a shock. Second,
Yeah.
there has to be a change in how society looks at things. And you have to have politicians, watch this,
Yeah.
who know they can't win without passing the regulation.
Yeah.
Let me say that again. You have to have politicians who feel like they're not going to win the race
Yeah.
if they don't pass the regulation. Until those three things are present, we will not see regulation on any stands, whether it's for white people or black people in AI.
Oh, I can get with that. I can get with that. And the thing about it is that the the issue with this doctor I had was that whether it was AI or not, she was using a broad spectrum for her database. It wasn't like she didn't have it. That was her go-to. Just use the numbers and go with it. And you got to dig layers. You got to dig deeper. So with AI, it's how you prompt. If you're prompting, the more you use it, the better your prompts can get, flat out.
Sure.
So I've been using AI for like 2 years now, maybe 2 years, like regularly. And I've seen my progress with prompting. The dangerous part of it is there's also your bad actors that are really great at prompting
That's right.
and putting wrong and bad information out there.
Yep.
So
Yep.
that's the challenge. So if you know data is bad, or you just look up something, you say that's not right. You using AI, you're like that's not right. And I've done that just on historical data, politics. So when I see it comes back with something, I say, well, wait a minute. What about such and such and such and such? This happened.
Yeah.
It'll say, you're absolutely right, Lamar. Yada, yada, yada. Let me correct my response. And it'll correct it on spot because it can go and find a data. The difference was that bad data, there was more of it out there.
That's right. That's right.
So it's prompting.
Right. Yeah. I work for an AI company. We work AI inside of recycling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And this is unscientific, but I think probably 2% of the problems that we have, less than 5% of problems we have, is the training of data. And I notice because sometimes we have a problem in my job as a overall maintenance trainer and maintenance manager is to find out whether it's maintenance related.
Yeah.
And 99% of the time it's not maintenance related. Goes back to those AI training.
Yeah.
And somebody will say, hey, that's okay, we corrected it. It was something in a data set. Right?
Yeah.
So, and I imagine that I'm going, my goodness, we did that across 29, we estimate to grow about 29 more buildings.
Yeah.
If we do that 29 more times, 5 times a day, we're going to be out of business, right? So we have to correct that. So that's the same thing we're talking about now, but in a company it's regulated because if you start losing money, people start getting cracked upside the head.
No, you're right. You're right.
In a country where people's lives are affected, unless those 3 things I just mentioned earlier take place, it is not going to get regulated and not going to get changed.
Right. No, I hear you. But I want to push back on regulation. I want to push back a little bit because we're looking at it from what we have to look at it from a United States standpoint. But I want to bring my man back up and let you check out his comment on regulation.
Yeah.
Because he's on point with it. I want you to check him out.
Look, I mean, we need a framework. Let's be clear. And that's what we're lacking right now in the United States is any kind of framework at all. Right now it is every company, every man for himself is really what we have right now. The EU framework is an excellent framework in that it talks about transparency. It talks about making sure that you are protecting people and individuals and human rights. It is an attempt to do that. I don't have a problem with that. What I have a problem with is here in the United States, the pushback against any regulation. The fact that the tech companies right now are putting a minimum of $100 million behind candidates who refuse to engage in any kind of regulation. We need to regulate. We've regulated technologies in the past and we've still been able to move forward. And what we have here now is this idea that, if we regulate, we're going to lose to China. No. If we regulate, we will regulate. The companies will answer the questions and they'll be able to go ahead and continue to do the advancements in technology that they want to do, but we'll have some transparency, we'll have some accountability, we'll have some standards, we'll have the things that would make our AI best in the world, as opposed to this race against China on our AI.
So
I still stand by my point, man. Cigarettes didn't get a Surgeon General's report or a deletion of commercials on TV until 60 Minutes program came out and people had been dying. Airplanes were still falling out of the sky back in probably around 1979 until they adapted a method of the way Japanese inspect airplanes and regulation happened.
yeah,
Bombs getting on airplanes didn't stop really until 9/11 happened, and the same thing with car seats. Unless there is a catastrophe, let me get back a little bit. We need regulation right now on social media for teenagers.
yeah.
How long has social media been around and we still ain't at it? It's not gonna happen.
I
Because
I
there's not
agree.
enough purposes.
No, I'm in agreement with you. What I'm saying is that regulations can work.
Sure.
But
Yeah, I
we
agree.
mentioned
I agree.
earlier, it's not working here purposely, intentionally. It's not about we need to have the catastrophe. It's the pressure of the catastrophe that make them change. When
That's right.
the only catastrophe that hasn't changed or have regulation is firearms. That's the only one. And only reason because it's in our Constitution. If car seats was in our Constitution, if medicine was in our Constitution, a jacked up surgery with AI was in our Constitution, it would have been changed by now.
Well, see, he said something that I think is key, and it goes back to it actually points to what you just said right now. There is $100 million pumped into the last campaign for people that don't want regulation.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money. That means you have to have at least 200 million or 150 million put on
Right.
the other side.
Yeah.
Which is probably not going to happen. Now, I will say, I believe that something is going to happen. I hope it doesn't cause anybody deaths, but I believe that the tide will turn as soon as that happens. And as far as these liberal politicians saying it to win elections, there's no will to do it because again, they will only do the things that help them win elections, period.
True. I totally agree with that. And so, I mean, like yesterday, I don't know if you saw this, I posted information about Rockbridge Network. I never really knew too much about Rockbridge. And so I had to do a little bit of research on it. And Rockbridge Network is a conservative political advocacy and donor organization funded in 2019 by J.D. Vance and Chris Buskirk. It is backed by wealthy tech sector investors and is closely aligned with the second Trump administration. So they describe itself as a political venture capital firm, raising money to build a new, more aggressive, conservative political infrastructure. Its internal documents outline several initiatives. Check this out now. A media ecosystem building, funding right-wing media and content creation. We've seen that blow out the water since 2019.
Yep.
Okay. A strategic litigation lawfare using lawsuits to target opponents and hold bad actors accountable. Have we not seen that? I mean, the chief bum in charge has been suing everybody, every TV station, everybody who says anything they don't like. Government in waiting, preparing personnel and plans to staff a future Republican administration from day one. That's exactly what happened at this last election. Now, the Red State Project, consolidating GOP control in targeted states by coordinating conservative groups and hiring state-level staff. So I say all this to say, oh, by the way, they have a budget of $75 million. That was just in 2024. We know what's up now. And they have overseas political groups working with them. So we know people like, what's the dude name? That owned Oracle. He was one of the backers. The guy, it was a bunch of them.
Not Peter Thiel.
Peter Thiel was the other one. And check out, they from South Africa.
Yeah.
We got Elon Musk.
I think it's worth $27.5 billion or some weird number like that. Yeah.
Look, Elon Musk from South Africa. So you got people that are not even from here controlling how you campaign politically through technology. Isn't that something that those same people was fighting against?
That's right. But that, like I said again, That's the one thing about politics is real tricky, right? It's almost like we have to be very careful as a culture, or let's just say as the advocacy that we do on this program. We have to be
Yeah.
very, very, very careful and not and thread that needle to almost assume that the liberal agendas and the progressive are going to do it. Because again, it goes back down to political capital. Who has political capital to get something done? I mean, we can think, let's think about Sawwell's already quitting the race. I think it's got something to do with this sexual thing, which probably didn't come up until they see he was going to become the governor of California.
Yeah.
But now all of his confidants are running scared and they get away from him, even though the case ain't been proven yet. But it goes back to, not saying he didn't do it, but saying it goes back to that.
Yeah.
Who has the political will to do what is necessary for the American people? I just don't think that the politicians are in it for the right reason, no matter what side of the party they're on.
Never have.
And we start talking about regulation. We have to have somebody like who kept push car seats. I think it was Ralph Nader.
Yeah.
Or the Bernie Sanders or the Rand Paul people of the world help pushing these things, because otherwise these things won't happen.
They won't. You're absolutely right. That's why I mentioned.
And it's frustrating to watch.
Yeah,
right?
That's why I initially said over here it ain't happening. Because they don't want it to happen. And speaking about Swalwell out there in California, I was going back and forth with it until I heard an interview this morning of somebody that he sexually assaulted, and I couldn't believe that this happened in 2019 with her. She blacked out and was raped.
Oh my God.
2024, she invited him out for drinks with some other colleagues. And I'm thinking to myself, why? So I started down her story now. But, I went back and forth online with some people about it, and they were saying they know women that keep being around the same person for various reasons. I said, I'm not disagreeing with that, but I know women also that's been sexually assaulted. I've interviewed women that's been sexually assaulted. I've partnered with women's shelters and or women organizations in Cleveland that dealt with this. And so some of the women that I know, if they had saw him, they probably cut his man parts off. You know what I'm saying? They probably cut him up.
I think it's something to be said, though. And I said, I guess when I first initially, I got 4 daughters, right? So my first initial is, how come his jaw's not broke, right? Because that's me.
Right.
We ain't talking about I'm gonna forgive you and we're gonna go. No, that's probably not gonna happen, and I hope it never happens to me, because I know how I'm gonna react. But anyway, I think that given the amount of pressure that it takes for a lot of these women to get these roles, I think they just go with the flow. I hate to say that.
It does.
That is it. I think they just go with the flow, man. I think they just go with the flow, and then something in them says, wait, this is not right. Now this guy's going to be in a position
more power,
way up here, more power. And after watching 47, they're going, let me stop him now. And maybe she did say something to him privately and say, hey, I'm going to tell what you did to me, but who knows what happened, right? Either way it goes, as soon as the allegation or those kind of allegations happen, take the seat, sit down, relax, clear it up. Here's one thing for sure. Nobody can accuse me and you of murdering a dog, right? Nobody's gonna accuse us of murdering a dog, because even if they said we did it, most people say, no, they ain't murdered no dog. Because first of all, Earl don't have animals, and Mars love them too much, so that probably didn't happen.
I don't love them like that.
Yeah, but because this stuff is so familiar, it was some of his colleagues going, well, no, he is a little flirty, but I don't think no. Y'all heard this probably once or twice since 2019, and nobody did anything. I do think that something like that happened, and this is the problem with this politician stuff. Everybody claims they're gonna be different, until they get all that power, and realize they can do stuff and get away with it, and good people change, and that's what's so sad.
I totally agree with you on that. And you remember back, wasn't he trying to run for president at one time when Kamala Harris went against Biden?
Yeah, I can't remember.
Maybe it was someone else
I
that.
know I heard his name before somewhere else, but I'm not. But I thought
Yeah,
about how he had responded to this and when
yeah,
this happened. And if you think about 2019, really ain't that
yeah,
far back.
yeah,
And given the climate, I mean, how many women? I mean, look at the Monica Lewinsky scandal, right?
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
you think about why she didn't. You're like, okay, she was 19 years old or whatever.
yeah.
What you
But
expect her to say about
this
the
girl
president of
was,
the United
I
States?
think this
Oh,
girl was
yeah.
21, maybe 19 or 21.
I
But
mean, think about it.
this was after the Me Too movement. It seemed like she would have been more. And I'm not saying what a woman should do. That's not what I'm saying.
Sure, sure.
My issue was in 2024, you asked this man out for drinks with some colleagues.
Yeah, that's.
Now,
But
like you said, it
hey,
could
I've
be.
seen some. I've seen some things here
Yeah,
that blows my mind.
yeah,
And this is women who are heavily involved in a religious institution
yeah,
around people that violated them.
yeah.
And
I've
to
seen
this
it.
day, that was 10 years ago. I'm still tripping.
Yeah,
Right?
I've
I'm
seen
still
that.
like, what just happened? That couldn't have happened, but who knows? Like I said, I'm glad I'm not a woman.
Yeah,
I'm glad I don't have to work in an environment. Being black is hard enough
yeah. Being a black woman is tough.
in a male dominated. I just can't imagine. So he's going away. Maybe more people like him should go away, and so people can concentrate on the issues that affect everybody. And
Yeah.
maybe one day there's going to be some legislation. I do believe that pretty soon there's going to be some legislation involving when this stuff is to be ready. They're going to be doing a lot better background checks on these
Yeah.
people before they put them in the offices. I do believe it's going to start happening.
Yeah, but this is happening while they in office. So you know, that was a staffer.
true.
That was a staffer of his. That was his staffer.
Crazy.
So
Crazy, man.
you know, and it's
You just have to be pretty careful.
and I hate to say it, man. I don't remember seeing a black politician getting accused of sexual assault like in the Senate or Congress or governor.
Most of them
Maybe lower
have
level.
done some. Right. Most of them have done some things involving women, but it wasn't assault. Right?
Well, I'm
Think
talking about
about-
in the Senate and Congress. They never would have got confirmed.
They would never got there, yeah. And
They
see,
wouldn't even
that's the
got
thing.
there.
That actually goes back to our original point, right? When black people are treated in such a way, and I almost hate when I see these statements, and it's not always now, I'm seeing less of those, but say you black people complain about being black, but man, this is tough.
Yeah.
When you when you look at things differently, even when all of us are trying to be fair, we can't like ignore the biases that exist when you're black. We can't ignore
Yeah.
that we can still watch #1 TV programs and only see one black on the whole program. We can still see #1 sitcoms and only see one black on the program. We can see stars who can stay up here and make billions of dollars for about 4 years, and then after the 5th or 6th year, you start seeing them get accused of things. Meanwhile, the white counterparts stay there. We can't ignore that, right? How many black #1 newscaster are still on the 24-hour news cycle?
They got
Right.
rid of
If
them, a
you-
lot of them.
Got rid of. But as long as those type of biases exist
Yeah.
with the society, regulate anything that helps us or passing legislation to help us is less likely to happen unless there's something major that happens, which caused the civil rights movement, the bombings,
Right.
and all that kind of.
Right. Right.
And it's sad. It's frustrating. At my age, I'm thinking, by now, I want to have a little more hope than that.
Yeah.
But T-Rump has definitely helped people show who they are.
Yeah.
He's
No, I
created an
agree.
environment of it.
And you think about this for a minute. Now, Swalwell, I wasn't even going to talk about him. 'Cause I'm tired of talking about people who've been violating people. But I want to leave with this point. Is that like self-entitled privilege to know that you did this in 2019 and had the balls, man, to run for governor?
Yes.
I'm like, I would be
That's
trying to hide and not be seen. You know what I'm saying?
But it's the same thing with I don't remember his name. This one congressman was this guy was anti-LGBTQ all day long, even when it was big. There was no gay marriage back then, and he was playing footsies with a young man inside of a stall.
That's the guy
Why
with
would you
that's
even?
the guy in the wheelchair.
I don't remember. No, this I don't know who this guy was. I remember, can't remember his name. I see his face, but I don't remember his name. He was playing footsies with a young man in the stall, trying to get him to have sex with him in the stall. This is like the privilege to me.
Yeah.
Some people say, well, it's sick. No, I think it. Yeah, you can call it sick, but I think the privilege
Yeah.
in them is, what you gonna do? Who's gonna believe you?
Right.
You know who
Right.
I am.
Right.
Me and you'd be scared to say that. Be like, oh shit,
Right.
they gonna throw my ass out the street, right? Like I
Yeah. I
better be
mean,
careful, even at
the
work. You
only
know,
one got caught in a scandal like that uh is the black dude from Florida. Dang, I can't think of his name right now. But he was running for Congress in Florida. I think it was Congress. And he got into it was he was married and ended up being into a homosexual relationship. And he ended up
oh, I
dropping out the
remember
race.
him.
I see him all the time. He's on the Native Land podcast. And
Okay.
dang on it. He's
But
with
the arrogance, it doesn't stop there, right? It's like
but he didn't violate anybody. He just
yeah, these people go in places and they expect it. I mean, they got tons of video, and let's just take the sexual assault thing out of it.
yeah.
There's tons of video online where these people cussed out people,
Yeah.
said things just irrational. These are professional congressmen. It's almost like the
Yeah.
guy that's now DHS guy, right?
Yeah.
How he threatened to leave the podium and come beat up somebody because he didn't agree with them. I mean,
Right.
dude, you're and Bernie Sanders had to
Yeah.
remind him what role he had. But this is the
Right.
arrogance of these people.
Right. Let me need to yeah, you gotta mute Greg because Greg just joined in. They had a lot going on over there. I'm like, man, I was trying to
It's
find the
all
mute button. I didn't know
it's all
what was gonna slip out. But getting
there
back to what you were
always a
saying,
mute.
well, what were you what were you go ahead and continue, EB.
Yeah, so I mean, the arrogance, this is how it's all. And for those people who really want to see our point, we are reminded. We try to forget it. We don't want to play on this our minds all the time. We want to think about other things.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever something like this Salwell thing happened, and this guy's going to run for Congress anyway, whenever Trump says something that's or put monkeys of, a president and his wife up on screen, and barely there's some they kind of saying something, but we should almost be. Matter of fact, the news channel shouldn't have been showing it. At that
Yeah.
point, they should have stopped showing it. Whenever we see things like that, we're reminded that we're not ready to have that discussion yet.
Yeah.
Because I tell you what you won't see. You won't see people making fun of a Jewish person
Yeah.
like he did Obama.
Yeah.
I guarantee that won't happen. That person will be off air. That station will never view that picture
Yeah.
again. But
Yeah.
until that happens, until we look at it as different type of citizens instead of the other, we'll never solve these problems.
Yeah. I agree. So going back to the regulation issue we're talking about and how people can, use prompting to make AI a gatekeeper when it comes to hiring. One of the things that the term the AI Civil Rights Act is to make it policy, not from maybe a government standpoint, but will some of these CEOs and executives that are in these companies that are of color are starting to now put in within the contract writing within their own companies. We're not talking about federal legislation, but the types of wording within their own companies, especially those that are up in power already, who have the CEOs and the VP positions that have leverage at the table. Because the main thing is, AI can do things to move you out. But if you also can put AI to move you in, like this one lady did a thing where a lot of your resumes are done or your applications are filled out through AI things
Yeah,
online.
right.
Well, they were saying, well, what if you put in an app for a job and the job said, you only have a 40% chance of getting this job based off of your experience. But over here, this position, you have a 70% opportunity. That's another way to leverage AI to give balance, not
Yeah.
to eliminate people as a gatekeeper, but also still give people an opportunity to get their foot in the door. Because that person that
Yeah.
got that 70% opportunity to get in, that doesn't mean he can't work himself up to that other position that he wasn't qualified yet for. So there's ways you can still use it if you're going to put it in a gatekeeper terminology. But
Yeah,
go ahead.
I think you're on something. I think on something. Maybe I spoke a little more broad on that too. I think that there is a chance. I'm kind of going to disagree with the guy that gave the video in a sense. I believe that we have a better chance of motivating smaller entities to self-regulate, right?
Yes.
That we could get the councilmen and the mayors and the companies to do it faster. And that would also
Yeah.
create a federal motivation to do some federal regulation.
Yeah.
I think that's highly probable
Yeah.
because given that companies give in when they start seeing that money
Yeah.
change,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
that's a possibility that will happen.
And the thing about it, when it comes to it, they never like when a lot of these AI can be the gatekeeper to keep certain people out. But if AI was used to its fullest capacity without using the term DEI, but puts the terms in the most qualified, as people want to
Yeah.
use the word most qualified, most merit, it would automatically put a DEI balance. It doesn't have to be DEI, just diversity in general, balance
Yeah.
in there. Because again, you're not looking at because most of the people of color that got DEI jobs were overqualified for the position they got.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if it was done and without really going into regulation again, making the companies themselves do their proper due diligence with it, I think it can make a difference. It's just
Yeah.
that you have to
Yeah.
put that data in there. It's all about putting those prompts in there. I'm going to go
Yeah.
ahead and welcome my brother up here, Mr. Greg, in the house, chilling back with the big blue pillow. I like that pillow, man. Um, so we've been talking a little bit about AI, but I'm going to switch a little bit, and we're going to talk about the return of the migration. So moving from the digital to the physical, there's a growing movement of Black professionals leaving the grind of traditional hubs to build sovereign hubs in the South, and they're moving overseas to Africa. This isn't just a move, it's a strategic retreat, the position of power. And so, I want to just bring it to you all to break that down. Me, myself, I moved from Cleveland to Texas to Dallas, and it was for professional reasons. My wife is an RN. She can work anywhere, but her 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 income changed moving to Dallas. Came up. Myself, I'm in the AV industry. Went from just being a sound guy. I ain't gonna say just, but a sound guy and producer in Cleveland to the corporate sector of being a corporate producer. Um, and the numbers change on a positive. I watched my stepson move here, who worked at Cleveland Clinic in Cleveland, move here and dramatic increase. The thing about it was so cool, they gave him and his wife a job. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
the for career moves is really good. Me personally, I'm not saying that's for everybody, but me personally, because we know that there was this migration to the north, and that was for jobs, that was for survival, but it was also for a sense of physical survival for your life. A lot of time, people migrated to the north. Um, we've seen that migration to Houston and Atlanta back in the 90s to where those two have really blown up to where they have that people of color, really black, uh, a black presence in those cities than many other states in the country. So before we really get into the big discussion on it, I always got a video to show y'all. And well, before I even show the video, do one of you all want to chime in on that topic of migrating back to the South?
I always have a response. Um, and for me, it's about perspective, how you look at it.
Yeah,
Now, if you're looking at it that literal, you can say it's a type of migration. What it is, more than anything else, is a change of relationship. The relationship of how to take care of your family versus where my life is at stake. So all of a sudden, it doesn't seem that it's more dangerous to live in the South because I hate to say it, there's white people everywhere, and they feel entitled on their own. It wouldn't matter where I was at. So if I'm taking care of family, then I have to go where my family's going to get the best education, where I'm going to make the right dollars, where I can start structuring and building a legacy. So that's why it goes back and forth, because I'm a product of that migration. My mom came up from Chattanooga, Tennessee, and met my dad, whose grandfather came up from Chattanooga, Tennessee, right? And we're talking about big families. They had 9, 10, 11 brothers and sisters. I have great big family, but my mom decided 2 was enough, right? So here I am 71 years later. It's just my brother and I, and he's 6 years younger, and we're both on the retirement side. We're looking at our grandkids and things like that. So the relationships have changed. For the international piece, business has afforded us to be able to develop relationships in countries like Africa that allow them to have a lifestyle, a life worth living that the normal people could have.
Right.
Because they don't have that type of caste system we got. It's a little different thing when you're living on that impoverished level from our perspective. But for them, no electricity tonight, no biggie.
Right.
For us, no electricity tonight. Oh my God, what am I going to do? How am I going to entertain myself?
Right.
You know, that kind of thing. So y'all were talking earlier about algorithms and stuff. We have to get back into teaching people how to find an answer and stop giving them an answer. Algorithms do just that. How am I going to research this? Okay, we'll just put it on your feed and we'll just inundate you with that. And we'll have you sitting still looking at all those things that you want to look at because that's what the algorithm says that you like. When we have to learn to build relationships. When you went to Dallas, when you went to Texas, when I met EB, we had to sit down and have a conversation. We had to have a relationship. We built a relationship, and that's all this has been about.
I think one of the things I want to say real quick too is that, amen on that, Greg. I think the relationship. I mean, my father comes from Huntsville, Alabama, so he wound up here. But I think things change a little bit when I talk about the migrations, economics, right? You know, the North, you know, from Michigan to Ohio was about steel and auto making, right? There was a lot going on up here at the time. That horse has been dead a long time. And I think that now people are just finally going, okay, there is nothing left, right? Guys like me gonna always have a job because of my career choice, right? And that's what my father coached me on that all while I was growing up, so that because he saw that change, right? In the South, which is unique about the South, and I go there quite frequently for my job, and I can tell you what's unique about the South is the work habits haven't changed much, right? The people, they I mean, at the middle of the day, the hustle and bustle is the same. Well, some people don't like going to the tri-state, Maryland and Virginia and all that stuff. The freeway's always crowded. People are always moving and going, doing things. You can sometimes throw a quarter on 90, right? It seems like ain't nobody going to work, right? And I'm not saying nobody's going to work. It just seems sometimes it's a ghost town. There's a lot going on in places like Texas, you know, got a big old oil things going on down with oil. Texas is big. Everything is big in Texas, right? Atlanta's is one of the fastest economic places to grow. I just saw that on the other day. A lot of things go down on the South because they still have that hustle going on, and there's a lot of economic stuff going on. There's a lot of land still left down there. North ain't got nothing going on but shopping. Period.
Right,
Spending money.
consumers. Yeah.
All we do here is spend money. There's more malls probably in a 10-mile radius than any place in America. And I don't know where people get this money from. The malls are crowded. I'm like, where do people get this money from? So again, I don't see anything wrong with moving to the South. I just think you have to be prepared for that, right, Mars? You have to be prepared for that, right? So it's a different way of living, right? And one thing I know about those people down there is if you're going to compete with the way they work, good luck. Because if you're not used to working them hours in that heat and humidity, forget it. It ain't going to happen. You're going to be back in the North pretty quick.
Mhm.
Is he talking?
I don't know. I thought I saw his lips moving.
Bye.
Yep, his lips are moving. It always happens when I come on, huh?
Yeah,
I
man.
make all your stuff go
Bringing
bad.
all that energy with you, kind of suck the energy out of the show. That's another podcast, right? It's about sucking the energy out of the show. Say every time he comes, the energy gets sucked out the show, right? Yeah, it's okay, brother. Yeah, man. I
It's
mean,
hard being me sometimes. It is.
that's right. Somebody got to do it, right? Right. I'm looking at retirement. I don't know. Maybe South looks good, but we'll see. I don't know, man.
There's
Comfortable up here. I love Ohio.
I'll be ready to engage you guys off camera. There's some things that have fell in my lap.
Let's-
I would be.
Man, you don't like us. I'll tell you, time Greg come on here, he sucked the energy out
Man,
of the show.
we was doing good, man. I don't know what.
Greg sucked the energy out of the show. Now he's talking to you, still went out again, man. What happened to your microphone? You're missing. That's what happened when you don't charge up those earbuds. Can't hear you, bruh.
Man,
You
I
got him
I don't know what happened there, man. But it just AirPods are full. They had like 86% a piece. Can y'all hear me now?
great, man.
How's that? That better?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Come
All
on.
I did was I had to click it off and click it back on. I'm like, what the heck? We was doing good. But
Yeah.
what I was saying was that you said you saw my lips moving. What I was saying was that moving here, I got the opportunities I didn't get in Ohio. And I think because the market was smaller, so you didn't have your risk level was higher in Ohio with who you brought into a position. So if you say, well, he don't have enough experience, it's like, man, I mean, I do. You look me up. I ain't call you. You called me, but now you're gonna tell me I ain't got the experience.
Right.
So, but moving down here, the things that they asked me that I know in Ohio, down here I learned on the job.
Right.
And so that was a little bit of a difference that kind of pushed it a little bit. And all
That's
you
something to be
need,
said, though, to be fair to the South, right?
yeah,
They take a lot of hits in our community. We know that the South take a lot of hits in our community about what's going on. But I think based on my experiences, it'd be good for us to have a conversation about maybe the misinterpreted stereotypes, right?
yeah,
That keeps people
right,
from moving down South, because you're like the fifth person I've talked to that have that exact same opinion about the South. And when we don't have the right information, people don't make the right choices. And I think it's only fair, and especially in a format like this, that we have a show where we talk about those things, because the same thing you found, there's like 25 people probably looking for the same thing, and they staying in Ohio because they're scared that the South is too racist to even hang
right.
out.
Well, the thing about it is that this is my third move to the South. And the difference was I was prepared. I prepared myself for the move, education wise and career wise, and I researched the market. The first time I moved, I thought I was grown. I wasn't ready to move. Okay, that was Florida. That was Florida. The second time I moved was North Carolina. It was a relocation with a job that I had. But this little town they moved me to, that was like the only real job in that town. You had to go other places. The town was so small. I mean, really, it was small. I mean, when you got a small town when you got a street called Main Street. That's when you know it's small. So But there was many blessings. There was many blessings moving there. Because my dad is from the South too, and that's a whole other story. But they moved me right. My job moved me right in the middle of where my dad's family was at, that I had never met. But
Okay.
but getting back to the point though, you have to be strategic in how you plan your move. It's not just I'm going to get up and just move to the city down here. You have to research. So we researched the economy. We looked at several different cities in the South, but we narrowed it down to Dallas. Had a job opportunity that didn't pan out when I got here. Literally, like I was here 30 days and never got paid. It was a startup company. And I went and got I didn't know I wasn't going to I kept asking when I'm going to get paid, when I'm going to get paid. And so then I moved. 30 days later, I moved. They knew I was going to get my wife, bring her down, got the U-Haul, brought her down to Texas. That was a Sunday we arrived in town. That Monday, they fired me. They said I had a bad attitude. And then
I don't know what
now
part they was talking
now
about.
y'all know me. So the thing about all that is that the company, well, like I said, was a startup, and I don't think they was ready for what I brought to the table, and they were ready to hire somebody. It was a couple of owners of this company, and we had a facility, a building, and what it was, we were starting a startup radio station, a blues and jazz station down here, and I was going to be the chief station engineer. So we had the building, we had the location, we was going to start building the station out at. We had our offices and everything. I just don't think they were ready because they was getting funding, and I don't think that funding ever really came through for them. So they fired me. But again, by researching the location I moved to, the economy and everything, I was hired again in less than a week.
Yeah.
So I got hired, and to show you the type of people you do meet. I'm not saying everybody. I mean, you still have your racism and all that here, but people identify good workers regardless of your race. They see good workers.
Right.
And so I was put in a good position to where I learned a lot of things that allowed me to move to a better position in another company.
Yeah.
That experience allowed me to build up to move to another company where I'm currently at. And it's just incredible how God moved. I know it was God because God told me to move here, and I knew it wasn't about just get up and move. It was like you moving with a purpose, and He made sure that along the way that purpose was fulfilled. Each spot along the way.
Well, you brought your character with you. You have, and ever since I've known you, there's a level of honesty and consistency and integrity in everything that you do, and that kind of character in a person, every job market wants to have.
Yeah.
And I'm going through it personally now because the hospice industry does not do patient care.
Yeah.
They don't care about the patient if they think that they're going to die.
Yeah.
But as a family, I'm not abandoning my dad.
Right.
Right. And so I show up 3 times a day, whether or not they do. But what they don't understand is the character that we have.
Yeah.
We keep our records.
Mm-hmm.
And see, I know what you've been billing Medicare for.
Yeah. Right.
It ain't been showing up at 162.16.
Right. No, I hear you. And that's how
everything.
But dad is first. Now once that's been resolved, then they'll find out there's another side to who we are as a people.
Yeah.
Right? Because community is what we're about.
Yeah. Totally agree. Yeah, but I want to toss this video to y'all about migration and see what y'all think.
Do you see the reverse migration as a kind of reclaiming of the South as the heritage, as the home of Black people and Black culture?
Absolutely. It's about reclaiming the South, reclaiming, this rich history. I mean, we built the South.
Right.
Why can't we have it? Why can't it be ours?
Yeah, we were told for so long, like, we are not welcome here, even though, like, a lot of our roots are here. A lot of our culture is based down here. And I feel like everybody trying to come back down here is just reclaiming the fact that, yeah, this is a part of our heritage.
I don't think the South has ever truly left us. It has been a part of the fabric of our food and a part of the fabric of the way we commune with one another and the way that we worship. And so even if we were removed from it at one point, it is just that homecoming or that yearning or that familiar that says, I have a place here and I can make it here.
Yeah, let me speak on that.
Yeah.
Because for me, there's been a study that I've been doing for the last 5 years, and those spiritual connections are as real as reaching out and grabbing stuff, right? That's just what I believe in my spirit, right?
Yeah.
And I think that what happens when you talk about what the things they just spoke about, what I mentioned, and I didn't think about that earlier, is even though you're being called down there, the spiritual thing wasn't the thing that you went down there for.
Oh,
But
no.
once you get down there, there's something that goes on to say, hey, I am reclaiming it. But I think they kind of gave an illusion that people go down there to reclaim. I don't think so. I
Yeah.
think people go down there for another reason and find out
Yeah.
that there's a reclaim going on, right? I think it's
Right.
just it's incidental, right? It's like something that happens, like, oh shoot. And then as you do the study and start learning the history, you say, oh, that's why I was called down here, right? And I think that the more in tune we get with who we are as a people in our spirit, the more of those things that you've experienced, Mars, and a friend of mine, he did exact same move. He made the exact same move you made for the same reasons and had the same results you had. And when he finally got down, he go, "Oh, I felt like I'm reclaiming my heritage," but that wasn't his intention when he first went down there.
I still don't look at it as audio went out again. What the heck?
But see what you've stumbled into, and what's seriously disconnected from our train of knowledge is the fact that the spiritual gifts, and there are 8 of them, all appear differently.
Yeah.
And when you get into a community where all of those gifts are present, you have a whole different feel to what's around you in your neighborhood, how you move through the society, how you interact with people at work. Because my gift and what I had a hard time understanding, my gift was not for me.
Yeah.
I'm imperfect, right? And I can't figure out, well, if I got this gift, how come I can't end up here? Well, my gift is not for me. My gift is for the community.
Right.
And when I leaned into what I do for people, right? Mars with his music, EB with your caring of history, all of those things.